Today I will go over properties of trapezoids. So let's start with the definition. A trapezoid is a quadrilateral with exactly one pair of parallel sides. Now this is very important, exactly one pair of parallel sides, because if you have two pairs of parallel sides, that's no longer a trapezoid, that's a parallelogram. So what I'm going to do here is I will label different parts of this trapezoid. If these two sides are my parallel sides, then we call this a base, and this my other base. This line in the middle, that goes from midpoint to midpoint. Depending on the textbook you use, some books call this median, some books call this mid-segment. And over here is my legs. Here's one leg. The non-parallel sides are called the legs. And finally, these angles down here are what we call the base angles. Same thing up here. These are base angles because they are angles along the base. Now, there's one property of any trapezoid in general that I would like to point out. If I call this angle 1 and call this angle 2, we have this property. Measure of angle 1 plus angle 2 equals 180 degrees. And this is true because we have two parallel lines cut by transversal. Angle 1 and angle 2 are actually same side interior angles, which are supplementary. Now let's go look at a special kind of trapezoid, the isosceles trapezoid. It's a trapezoid with congruent legs. That's the basic definition. Now let me go ahead and mark all the symbols in here. It is a trapezoid, that means we have parallel bases, congruent legs, so this leg's congruent over here. Okay. Because it's an isosceles trapezoid, just like in an isosceles triangle, we have this angle congruent here, and this angle down here congruent over here. Then the diagonals are congruent. And here are your basic properties of an isosceles trapezoid. Congruent parts, congruent legs, congruent base angles, congruent diagonals, and parallel bases. So I want to go ahead to my examples and show you a couple of examples involving trapezoids. Alright, trapezoid. This right here, one pair of parallel sides, legs are congruent, diagonals are congruent, and base angles are congruent. So what I have up here, the picture and the blanks, is what we have over here. Let me put these side by side. Okay. Alright. So now I'm going over to the examples. I'll do example 1, example 2, and example 4. Example 1, find the value of x. So this angle, 12x plus 3, and this angle, 13x plus 2, they are supplementary. They add up to 180. The way I remember this is angles on the same leg So I'll make that note. Angles on the same leg, they add up to 180. So my equation is 12x plus 12x plus 3 plus 13x plus 2 equals 180. At this point we combine like terms and simplify. 12 and 13 gets me 25x plus 3 and 2 equals 5. Subtract 5 on both sides. Get 25x equals 175. And last step, we divide by 25 to get x equals 7. So angles on the same leg add up to 180. Example 2. This time we have these different expressions. Let me write them on my picture. AB is 7y plus 6. EF is 5y minus 3. DC is y minus 2. So we have a formula for median. To find that median is equivalent to 1/2 times base 1 plus base 2. So median is this line that goes in the middle. So using that formula, we have 5y minus 3 equals 1/2 base 1 plus base 2. Let me make a different note here. So this comes from our formula, or this is my median, and it equals 1/2. This is my base 1 plus this is base 2. So let me clean up this parentheses. We still have 5y minus 3 equals 1/2. Inside my parentheses, we have y plus 7y to get 8y, and negative 2, positive 6, that's 8 plus 4. Next, I can distribute this 1/2. Distributing that 1/2 gets me 5y minus 3 equals 4y plus 2. Solving for y. And let me move over here. Plus 5 to get y equals, plus 3 to get y equals 5. So the idea here is the top base plus the bottom base times 1/2 equals your median. Last part, we have an isosceles trapezoid. It tells us PR, this diagonal, is 3x minus 7. TA, this diagonal, equals 20. Property of isosceles trapezoid is those diagonals are congruent. So let me make a note. Diagonals are congruent. So there you have properties of a trapezoid. Few key things I need to point out. Angles on the same leg add up to 180. If you have an isosceles trapezoid, however, angles on the same base are congruent. And in an, again, isosceles trapezoid, diagonals, this one and here, diagonals are congruent. And we have a median formula. 1/2 times base 1 plus base 2 equals that median.